everyone, and welcome to another episode of intelliTALKS. And I have a special guest for today. He's my friend Kamal, and Kamal is from AMZ One Step. But I'm going to disclose a little bit about Kamal. He's actually doing an incredible job when it comes to photography and images, when it comes to the actual, let's say, power of the Amazon listing, which is actually the images, because everyone nowadays is purchasing with their eyes. So Kamal, welcome.
Thank you so much, Mark. Super excited to be here, and I'm excited to talk about the images, how you can increase your click-through rate, how you can increase your conversion. Super excited to talk about that. But you said it right. It's the backbone of your listing, right? So once you get that right, your PPC will be profitable. You will be ranking a lot better. Your conversion rate are going to be higher. Eventually, you will make more money if you have a really good creatives or really good traffic. So super excited for today's talk.
Yeah, likewise, and I totally agree, because people are looking at a lot of technicalities like SEO and keywords and everything. But what's the purpose of being indexed and being on the top if you have, let's say, an image that's not making the customers click on it? But for today, stay tuned, because Kamal will be enlightening us on how to do this the best way and some tips and tricks. But Kamal, tell us a bit about AMZ One Stop. What do you guys do, and maybe some story about it? Yeah.
Okay, so what we do is we actually help Amazon brands with their creatives when it comes to your images, videos, A+ content, 3D rendering. So basically, we make your listings look good, and we're based out of Canada, but we have studios in different parts of the world, and we're in business for almost 7 years now. I have been an Amazon seller myself. I started with like retail arbitrage. I was buying stuff off the Walmart, Target. Then I was flipping them on Amazon. So that gave some momentum, so that made my belief very strong that Amazon is something that really works. Then I jumped into wholesale for some time, but eventually, once I found out that the private label is the way to go, I was started to launch more products. After a couple of failed products, I really found a good product and then started building a brand about that. So in about 2018, I sold that brand because I wanted to focus more on AMZ One Step, but I could not stay away from Amazon. I found that my knowledge is kind of degrading. If I have to stay, on top of my business, I do have to, stay on top of the strategies which are working really well. So I bought a new brand in 2020. So I'm kind of an Amazon seller, which is more for experimentational purposes, like what kind of main images, what kind of infographics that are really working well, but my main business is AMZ One Step. So yeah, that's all about like myself and a little bit about about the company.
That's brilliant, actually. And yeah, I know Kamal has a small presentation for us. We'll be diving into some very nice creatives there. Kamal, I'm really looking forward to learning more today and discovering more ways to improve the business. So I'm bringing in the presentation, and it's visible.
Okay, perfect. So let's get started. So guys, today we're going to talk about how you can maximize your traffic with Amazon creatives. So, what we're going to do, we're going to dive into like the basic stuff first, and then we're going to dive into like really advanced strategies. So stay with me. I know this may sound a little bit basic in the first few slides, but this is mainly for people who don't really understand the basic KPIs, but we're going to dive into like some really good strategies. So if you want to be successful on Amazon, like if you want your listing to be converting really well, so these are the 3 KPIs that you have to be looking into it like very carefully. Number 1, impressions, then there are sessions and unit session percentage. So let's say if you want to get more impressions, what do you have to do? You have to work on your keywords, the SEO strategy, and you also have to do PPC so that more people can see your listing. And also you have to focus on the ranking, like what kind of keywords and where exactly are you positioned on those keywords. So these are the 3 things that you need to do if you want to increase your impressions. And same thing with your sessions. How do you go from impression to a session? There's only one thing, which is the click-through rate. If you're getting all those impressions on your listing and people are not clicking on your listing, you will get no sessions, right? So there's only one thing that you can do to get more traffic is the click-through rate, right? And if you want more conversions, obviously, you need to have like better images, videos, A+ content, reviews, better pricing, and all sort of good stuff. But in today's presentation, we're going to focus on the CTR, how you can make your traffic go up by the main images. Okay, so let's say you have like 1 million impressions, okay, and your click-through rate is only 1%. So that means you will get 10,000 sessions on your listing, and assuming that your unit session percentage is 10%, you will get 1,000 sales. Very basic, right? So same example, but let's just assume that your CTR goes up from 1% to 1.5%. It's only 0.5 difference, and you're making 500 more sales now, from 1,000 sales to 1,500 sales. And what you did, you only increased your CTR by 0.5%. But how can you increase it, right? That's a $1 million question. So there are some factors which are responsible for it. There's, you can have a better main image, you can have a better product title, your price, your reviews, what kind of fulfillment method are you choosing? Is it FBA or FBM, or what kind of Amazon badges are you getting, like Amazon Choice badge or bestseller badge? So these are all the factors which are responsible for click-through rate on your listing. And it is a proven fact that listings with more traffic, they make more sales. And the main image is the most important factor responsible for the traffic. So let's talk about basics of the main image. Okay, so everyone talks about your main image, has to be good. But how do you make your main image good, right? How do you make it unique? So these are some of the things which a lot of Amazon agencies, freelancers, top Amazon experts that struggle with, because Amazon is so strict that if your main image is not compliant with Amazon terms of service, your listing will be suppressed. Okay, so but how do you make your main image stand out? So let's talk about the basics. First, it has to be pure white background. Product should cover at least 85% of your image. Image has to be high quality, unique angle. It should be Amazon terms of service compliant. There should not be no logo, badges, or any kind of graphic design on the main image itself. So these are the basic requirements. But that kind of leads into, like, what do we do then? Like, in the end, it's only the main image on white background, right? How do you make it stand out? So before we talk about the strategies, let's understand the risk versus reward. So you see three main images on the screen. The image on the left is very safe image. It's perfectly Amazon compliant, but it gives you very little competitive advantage. Okay, and image in the middle, it's a low risk one. It's a low risk image, but it gives you kind of a medium competitive advantage. Okay,
It's low risk because of that small ball that's separated from the product itself.
It's a low risk because you're using a pet inside the image, right? So which is kind of not fully kind of
TOS compliant. Yeah.
right, fully TOS, and it's also kind of safe. We're not doing anything shady, so that's why somewhere in the middle it gives you some competitive advantage, and it's a low risk too, right? But on the right, it's a very high risk. You can see, like, it says there's a graphic design, there's like ebook illustration, right? There's like lots of things happening on the image on the right, but it gives you a really high competitive edge. So we don't recommend that, but you can always push the boundaries. Okay, so but what I do recommend is always having a safe image in the background, right? In case Amazon suppress your main image because it's risky, you can always go back and upload the safer image. So this is the risk versus reward assessment. So we did a 𝗶𝗀 poll, and what I want you to look at is not at the winner, but at the loser. Look at the loser, option A. That is the only Amazon compliant image that only got one vote, right? So this tells me that if you are like staying within the limits of Amazon, you will not be able to be successful. So you have to think of some creative ideas to make your main image stand out and still fall within the Amazon terms of service. So how do you do that? So that is the real question. So
Yeah.
the first strategy that we have is the label it strategy. So what you can do is you can add a label of your unique selling proposition in the product packaging, even if the unique selling proposition does not exist on the actual packaging. What do I mean by that? If you look at the image on the left, that is the actual product packaging, and image on the right is the modified version of image using the label it strategy. And you can see that the click share was 9.3% on unflavored protein powder, and after we used that strategy, it went up from 9.3% to 17.4%, almost doubled on the same keyword. And where do we get those data from? We're getting that from brand analytics. And we're not even lying it to the people. Like, it's actually 25 grams of protein, and it's the unflavored version. So what people are really interested to see, they were like, okay, if they're buying a protein powder, how many grams of protein they're going to get and what is the flavor, right? So if
Mhm.
the product packaging is missing that information, use this strategy to enlarge it. So, and if you're in the process of launching a new product or changing your product packaging, this is the ideal product packaging for your Amazon product, because this will give you unfair advantage of getting high click-through rate, and you don't have to do a lot. So this is
Mhm.
one of the great examples. And some sellers ask me, hey Kamal, like, what if my product does not come in a product packaging? Right? So what can I do? You can still use the label it strategy. If we look at the image, right? So this is by one of my favorite brands. It's called Gorilla Grip, and most of their main images, they are using the exact same strategy, right? So they're
Yeah.
selling cutting boards here. So there are three different sizes. So what they have done, they have enlarged the label, and they're using the unique selling proposition here, like it's extra large cutting board, and they're also showing more colors, and it's showing set of three. And I'm absolutely sure that when the customers receive this product, they don't receive it like this. It's logistically, a nightmare if you package your products like this, right?
Right.
So what they have done, they have just enlarged the label, right? So even the big brands, Dude Wipes, one of the emerging brands in the United States, they are also using the exact same strategy, right? Look at this one, Thrasio, Angry
Mhm.
Orange. They're using the exact same strategy to make their main images stand out. Like Old Spice, look at that, really traditional big brand. They are using the same strategy to make their main image stand out, right? And if we, going back, if you're in the process of designing a product packaging, come up with the unique color which just stands out. So product packaging or label it strategy, it's a great way for making your main image stand out. But make sure you're playing within the colors of your product packaging. Do not deceive your products when they receive it. You don't want to be, you don't want them to think like they received a different product. Okay, so stay within
Yeah.
the branding colors and everything. So that is the strategy number one. Okay, and the 2-second rule is the strategy number two. So if you look at this main image, right? So this is the draft one. So what is the 2-second rule? It says that you should be able to understand exactly what the product is within the 2 seconds, within the 2 seconds of seeing that picture. So this product is called a ring toss, a game, right? So when we first showed it to the audience on Pickfu, like we were like, hey, what do you understand of this product? And people were confused, and they were failing to understand within the 2 seconds, right? So what we did, we modified the version. So we kind of showed that the loops could be loops that go into those hooks. uh, so we asked them like, hey, what do you think that this product is? So this product is actually a ring toss game. So then we came up with a newer version, right? So on one hand, we use the arrows that you can slide it in. If it falls into the hook, you can move, uh, you know you can move the stick from
Yeah.
left to right, so two players see that. So it's much more easier to understand. So always make sure that your product is fully understandable within the 2 seconds. Okay. And the next strategy that I have is you can also use the model in your product main image, right? So if you look at the image on the left, it's only the product that we're showing, and it's very difficult to understand for some people, right? So we're selling a push-up machine, and on the exact same keyword, the click share was 10%. And after we added the model, like people can see like where to hold it and they can do the push-ups, the click share went up to 19%, almost doubled on the same keyword. And you can also use it for like simpler products, because it just gives uh, it just makes your product look stand out even on the basic products. And let's say if your product does have variations, right? So what used to work in the past is the image on the left. You could actually show the graphics over there, and uh, and people would click on their listing that there's other colors available. But slowly Amazon started to crack down these images where we're using a lot of graphics. So what works now is image on the right. So you can actually show your variations in the background with a smaller picture. So people would automatically assume that we're not showing other colors, like as the same size, and with the price and everything, people can understand that it's not 3 pack, it's only 1 pack, and the others, they are variations. And this is how it's going to look like on your listing. So the main image of the main variation, it's much larger, and the variations are in the background with the smaller. So
Or
it
just
can
put the colors directly on the packaging, and that's another way to conceal it there. That's another way, and we're doing that actually.
exactly right. So that is more of a label it strategy. So you can
Yeah.
use multiple strategies to blend it together. So that is another great way of of making your main image stand out. So the reason these strategies are great to have, because all you have to do in the Amazon search results is to break the pattern, right? If somebody is using
Yeah.
this strategy, maybe try putting colors on the packaging. Or if other people are using colors on the packaging, maybe try using this, right? All you have to do with the main image is break the pattern, right?
Yeah.
And this is, Marky, one of my favorite strategies, right? It's called Kaizen strategy. So what does that mean? That means you always have to continuously improve your main image. Okay. And what happens is, you launch a new product, right? You come up with a killer main image idea, and everybody else after 2 months, they just copy your exact same idea, and search result just looks exactly the same, right? Everybody has the exact same picture. So you always have to keep improving your main image. And by using the Kaizen strategy, it will be, you will get a lot better results. So if you look at this image, it's Amazon compliant. It's a portable monitor, a high quality image on pure white background. There's nothing wrong with this image. But with the Kaizen strategy, you ask yourself one question: is, can you improve this main image? And the answer is always yes. So you ask this question: look at this now. This was before, this is now. What we did, we 3D rendered the product. It's much sharper image now, very unique. And you ask yourself the same question once again: can this be improved now, right?
Hmm.
Image be improved? And the answer is always yes. Look at that. That is the third version of the exact same image. Look how far we have come already, right? So now we have added a wallpaper on the screen, which makes it look very unique, right? It stands out from the other competitors.
Yeah.
And you ask yourself the same question once again: can this be improved again? The answer is yes. Look at this image now. Now you're adding a
Hmm.
label strategy into it. You're adding your unique selling proposition, and it looks a lot better, than the previous versions, right? And you ask yourself the same question once again: can this be improved? The answer is yes. And look at that. So now we
Oh,
have kind of
nice.
given a 3D effect, and look how far we have come by only asking just one question: can this be improved? And the answer is always yes. And trust me, 2 months later, everybody else would have something similar in their main images, because people just copy really quickly, and you just have to come up with the Kaizen strategy, like, can this be improved, can this be improved? And that way, other sellers, your competitors, they're trying to, they are playing the catch up game, not you, right? So one
Right.
of the great strategies to implement in your main images. And uh,
Brilliant.
yeah, and Marky, so this is a PickFu poll that we did at our studio here. We asked our team, and we also asked our client, hey, which image would they prefer? So client said, we really like option A. And our team thought, the option B was better, because the product, you can see the product, you can also see the product packaging in the background. And the option C, nobody paid attention to the option B. But when we did a PickFu poll, everybody was like, oh, I like the option C, because I can see the product cushion or the product seat a lot better in the option C, because that's what they're more interested in. They are interested in the seat, they're interested in the product, right? So they see it very closely. So
Yeah.
they chose option C. So always use close-up shots if you can, right? If you have a product where you can use this strategy, I highly recommend that you do that. Okay, that is one of the ideas that we have. And the next one is showing more angles. Imagine, look at these three images. Now imagine that we were not showing the second picture. Would we
Hmm.
be doing justice to that product or the main image? No, because this is a product, where we need to show both sides or multiple angles, in the same image, so that people can see the unique selling proposition within the main image itself.
Very clear. Yeah. Yeah.
So use multiple angles if you can, uh, because people would be able to understand your product a lot better and a lot faster. So
Hmm.
many sellers, they have product like this, but they don't show all the different features and angles that they can through the main image. And let's say your product is a boring product, it does not have any colors, it looks very plain, right?
Right.
What can you do? You can add colors to it, right? Look at the image on the left, you can add any color, right? So same thing on the right side. You can add some like colorful products into it, and your image will look more appealing, right? So these are the things
Right.
that you can do if you have like a boring product, right? And
Hmm.
let's say if your product comes in a great packaging, right? I always recommend showing that in the main image, so that it can increase your perceived value of the product. And also, if you have a brown box or a very poor looking product packaging, I wouldn't recommend that. But if you have a good looking packaging, highly recommend showing that in the main image. And there's a PickFu poll that we did by showing the product packaging in the background, right? Look at that. So 4-to-1 ratio, that image won, because everything else is exactly the same. The only thing we did here, just added the packaging. So people do want to see what comes, what it comes in, right? So that means it's
Hmm.
acceptable, right? It will arrive safely and stuff like that. So there's so many things that they see it like more of a branded product than a non-branded product. So always do that if you have a nice packaging. And
Sometimes more is more. Just present more information in the main image just to capture the attention and yeah, get that client to click.
Absolutely, Marky. So if your product is like a highly reflective or a hard surface product, I would recommend that you do 3D rendering, because your images would be a lot sharper. Sometimes, 2 or 3 years ago, some sellers, they did not really understand what 3D rendering is, and they were like always, left confused, like how their competitors, they have like such sharper main images, right? They
Yeah.
would always like, hey, you know what, I really want my image to look like that. But we would try to explain them like, that is not an actual image, that is a 3D rendered image, right? So for some products, 3D rendering is a great way uh, to make your main image stand out. And let's say if you have uh, product which comes with a lot of accessories or multiple pieces, lay them out nicely and show them like this, right? So that way you are showing like the each and every part that they are going to receive, uh, you know, as a product, right? What used to work in the past is in the image on the left. There's nothing wrong with that image. It's just like very old school. It's a bad example. So the photographer did the picture. Photographer nicely laid out everything and captured it. It's a nice picture, but it's something that does not work anymore. What works now is the image on the right. You have captured each part like separately. You have, same angle, you have nicely edited them, you have photoshopped them and nicely laid out in just one image. It looks nicely presented, right? So if you have like multiple
Clean. Yeah.
accessories, try something like this. Works really, really well. And
Mhm.
if you have a product which can be used, or which is difficult to understand just by showing the product image itself, try to show product in action, right? So that people can understand within the 2 seconds, like what exactly your product is. So you can show your product in action. Here's a really good example of a Pitfall poll and product in action strategy. If you look at the image on the left, what we're doing, we're showing the product in action, and image on the right is a very big brand, 𝗶𝘁𝗂𝗋𝗋.
Mhm.
Exact same product, right? But just a third party seller, like like you, like me, they are doing a lot better job than a big brand on the right. And what they did, they only showed product in action. So
Yeah.
Amazon is more about what kind of strategies you're using, as opposed to like what kind of big brand do you have, right? So these are 13 or 14 strategies that I have, um, Marky. So
That's
which can be
yeah.
used, like, multiple, depending on what kind of product you have. You can pick and choose one, and I'm absolutely sure your main image would look better.
Definitely. And I also the purpose is here because the main image is actually the hook. You get people to click on it, and after that, your listing has to take it home and land the sale. But it's very important to get people on the listing, and that's where Kamal was, trying to present all the tricks and tips that are around this area. And I find it very, very powerful because this small details can lead to a lot more clicks, a lot more options for you, a lot more customers for you actually to get to your product and transform into a actual sale. Kamal, I find it, I'm very, very intrigued and I like it for myself as well first. And I'm sure everyone here that's watching, and I'll display more information about it in the description. But it's really crazy what you can do starting from a small image, from a simple image, and just create something beautiful for eye-catching, like pattern disruptor, to get that customer and land it on your listing. Yeah, that's very powerful. So thank you for sharing that with us today. For everyone that doesn't know, Kamal does that on very, very powerful strategy for Amazon sellers. So I encourage everyone to jump in and at least check out what he has to offer. Kamal, is there anything else from your side? I will be displaying below here how people can reach out to you, but I'm sure there's something that you want to add to this conversation. Very, very important. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much, Marky. So if you want to know more about, how you can improve your, main images, you can go to this website. And we have a special offer for the intelliTALKS audience. If you're listening to this podcast, we would love to offer you 2 free main images, and we would also pay for your split testing cost. So there's nothing for you to lose. If you have a main image, just mention intelliTALKS, on the form that you're going to fill out, and we would love to give you, a free split testing and 2 main images, and give some value from our side to you. And if you find the value, you can also do split testing on your own with manager experiments and stuff like that, because in the end, the only thing I would like to add, Mark, a lot of sellers, they come up with like different PPC strategies. They spend like 12 months or 14 months, trying different strategies out, but they never test out their creatives. Spend some time working on your creatives. I'm sure your PPC strategies will start to work, once again. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much, Marky, for having me on the show.
Well, thank you for your generosity, because offering 2 free main images and split testing to our audience is incredibly, generous of you. So I humbly thank you for this, and thank you for being here. Also, I truly relate to what you just said, because you may have the most, let's say, biggest budget out there to put into PPC. If you have bad creatives and bad images, they will simply not convert. You get a lot of impressions and people will not click. That CTR will go like crazy, because at the end of the day, we always, and we're also customers, right? I mean, we're also consuming and purchasing from Amazon. From on our side in Romania, we have different other marketplaces, but we buy with our eyes. I always say this, the text part, and this is the listing part, is for, getting indexed, presenting some technicalities, like maybe, length of the product, or how heavy it is, or this kind of thing. But when people are actually purchasing, they're looking at the most beautiful product that they're serving their needs. And like you very well said, Kamal, it has to understand what the product does in maximum 2 seconds. So I find it enlightening, actually, and really powerful. Thank you, Kamal.
Thank you
That's
so much.
brilliant.
Okay. Thanks for having
All
me.
right. For everyone that, I will be adding in the description all the information about Kamal and how you can reach Kamal. And I'm getting again the website, AMZ One Step. Reach out to Kamal and get those 2 free images, and never know, that might be the change you need to get even more sales. Actually, I know that's the change you need to get even more sales, more quality images with strong and people that actually know what they're doing. And Kamal, thank you for this wonderful presentation and for your time. And this is also, I want to say this. This is also about a small part of your listing, which is actually the main image part. So I think Kamal has a lot of other things that he can share with us, very powerful things. We stopped the presentation until now, but of course we're going to get Kamal on for even more information and great tips on all the other images on your listing, because they are doing this every day and they're very powerful at it. So thank you, Kamal.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Until next time, bye everyone.